So I covered up my crime.
Mm-hmm.
You see.
And how did you do that?
Okay, fine. I covered my crime. How it was, there was a compost there, sort of where we do our compost, we burn things.
At the house?
At the house. There's a fire there, you burn the body, you run. Then you try to hide her, that she's gone somewhere. You are thinking of somewhere to run. Then like when they're trying to find her, you just say that she just went with her car, because we took the car. I called my friends came, they took the car, you see.
Right.
And then a bag, a passport, everything.
Okay. Nash, you wanted to say to us something?
Yeah, I mean, let's just go back to this. So she falls down. There's a pit there. You carried the body by yourself?
Yes.
Or your friends helped you?
I was by myself.
It's like more like dragging, right?
You drag the body, it goes by the hip where it's burning. You burn the body beyond recognition. That's how it is. That's what happens.
Denny J Show. Zvanga zviri down to up tauraitirwe nyaya dzacho dzese narrative ndaichidwe kana mchida kutipisa deep ndaipidwe make you spill a bean if you know what I mean. Ande
it's time. We're starting now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Denny J Show. How we doing, guys? Nash?
What's good, my boss?
Are we chilling?
Yeah, chilling. This is gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one. Another one.
Another one. Inspirational.
Yeah. So we're on this inspirational series. We did one last week, and we've got another one this week. What do you think about this direction that we're taking, Nash? This is nation building. This is inspiring.
Yeah.
This is wholesome content.
Yeah. Redemption.
Yeah, you know. I think in a space where there's so many voices, there are certain voices that need to be heard, and I think we can easily provide a good platform for that. You know, today, like last week, we have a very interesting guest. I think you might have come across his story in either the press or on radio. He is a former death row inmate. His name is Godden Matanga, and if you haven't heard his story, we're going to put some links on there, but we managed to get him to come to the show, and I think it's going to be a good one, Nash.
Yeah, scary a bit though, but it's cool.
I know, but scary. Ladies and gentlemen, in the studio today we have, what do we call you, Godden? Are you an advocate for, what did you say it was? For reform? No, I think we have Godden here. Ladies and gentlemen, Godden Matanga in the studio. Yeah. I usually have a long list to describe my guests. But I think you're more popularly known as a former death row inmate, right? I would imagine that's... Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and it's nice to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
I think we have lots to talk about. You have lots to tell us.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe you can briefly just outline the circumstances for what happened with regards to the whole death row thing and being in prison and so on. Maybe let's start there. Let's talk about the circumstances in which you found yourself in prison and on death row.
Okay. Well, the circumstances were more like this. It all began through abusing drugs. Was in my teens, and as a youth, I used to take drugs by then. I started off with marijuana. Later on, I progressed to more harder drugs like LSD, mandrax, and these drugs were now in my system. And in order to sustain this habit, I began, selling my stuff, my toys, Walkmans, things like that. I was still going to school. And then also I chose join the gang, gang like friends, gang. the choice of friends I had by that time. So we're going partying, bashments, things like that. And so when the heat got up with these drugs, remember, got into crime now in order to sustain this habit.
Yeah, let me just catch you off a bit. Maybe I think we should have started more on how you grew up and how you were raised. I think that would be more appropriate.
Yeah.
Because these drugs that you mentioned, these seem like uptown drugs.
Yeah.
These are not our regular cheap type drugs.
Cheap,
these are uptown drugs. Let's start from the beginning. Your background in terms of where you went to school, how you grew up, and that sort of thing.
Great. Well, my childhood was more like this. I grew up. I was born in Bari on the 18th of June 1980, and then I grew up also in Avondale, going to primary school. Well, by that time, first my parents. You see, I grew up in more in a violent institution. The home I grew up, that's my parents. My father was like more violent, more drunkard, and then later on, my parents divorced, and I was left with my mom and my sibling, my young brother. So by that time, my mom was housemaid, working for like the white folks. By that time, this is in the 80s. So in Avondale, now with my young brother and my mom, and it was more like tough for her. And it was difficult for her to raise us. At the same time, she's going to work. And you see, so her employers, the boss, later on took the hand of taking us to the social welfare. And then we were later admitted to a children's home in Emerald Hill in Harare. This is where I was now sent to Avondale Primary School. I was now staying at the orphanage, that's Emerald Hill. So at the orphanage there, by that time, you see, with this, the institution I came from, the home I'm mentioning, you see, I came from a relationship where my parents were really like, it was violent, and this also affected me mentally, psychologically. Even now at the home, you see, we were more than about 50 kids there from different races. Some were Indians, some were colored, some were white, some were blacks. And actually, I really found it hard to gel in with them. I was more like a loner, you see. Remember I said there, my mind wasn't quite straight. I suffered psychologically and mentally, and I found it difficult to join in with other kids. I was more like a loner there. This also affected me, even my studies, even at school. Later, I was taken to a senior boys as I was now going for Form 1, St. Joe's House for Boys, that's in Belvedere, here in Harare again. And there, I was now amongst senior boys, older boys than I, and this was more a complex home where now these are, you've got there's bigger dormitories, there are bigger boys, and there, you see, there was all sorts of things going on, like, you are now adapting to a more senior home where you are now watching television, you are now going to a senior boy, I was now going to PE. This was all these fees were being paid by the home, you see. So they now at Prince Edward and the senior boys home, remember I said that there's a choice of friends, choice of gangs. Even at PA by that time, there were gangs. With gangs from Arcadia, Sunningdale, and by that time, still I was suffering mentally. Again, I was sort of affected with the separation of my parents. I used to ask myself that, okay, I've got both parents alive and I'm living at a home, you see. Yeah.
That's quite interesting for me. I wanted to ask, since what age were you put in the home system?
I was put in the home at the age of 8 years old.
8 years.
Yeah, from 8 years I was put in a home.
Your mom could not afford, because I had asked you this earlier on, do you not feel like maybe your mom abandoned you because she was still alive? Yeah. But she accepted for you to be put in.
Yeah, that's what I felt. That's what actually affected me at the home. It's like, okay, I'm in a home, but my parents are both alive, and I looked like I was abandoned. Like, why? You see, looking, you see, I was like, why? And then at the same time, I also felt sort of like a relief again. That okay, my mom. I used to see my mom getting beaten up always. I was also beaten up by her father, and I thought maybe since her father is now gone, maybe it's a relief. But at the same time, you see, I yearned for that role model of a father who was loving and caring. You see, But you see, you don't find this really at the home. At home, there are so many kids. The love you yearn for from a mom and a father, you don't get it in a home. In a home, you get comfort, you get better living standards, you get to go to school, but inside your heart, you yearn for something loving that you don't find, you see. Yeah, that's what I really lacked by that time, and I really yearned for it.
Okay. So from primary school, basically, you were in the home system?
Yeah, I was in the home system.
All the way up until
even senior, when I was now doing my secondary school. I was in a home system again.
So did you do your secondary school up to A level?
No, up to O level.
Up to O level.
Yeah.
So the government was basically paying, or rather, it's more like a civic society.
Yeah, it's more like that. You see.
All right. Okay. They were paying for all your bills up until school. And then when you finished your O levels,
they just say go back to your homes, go back to your parents, just go back. That's how the system was back then. It's different from the homes which I now see today, where they try to help you after you finish school, maybe with projects, jobs, things like that. That's more interesting what they're now doing. By back then, once you just finish your O level, they just say go back to your home. We're done with you. You see, they just you see, right. That's how it was.
And then, so after school, then you went home, and then what were you doing then?
Okay, so by that time now, really, to be honest, I was, I was now deep into these drugs, and I did some few jobs. I remember working at a takeaway. You here and there, you want to do something, try to earn something, you see. But I could not really hold down one stable job at a time, you see. There's a time I'll be late for work. I would also, sometimes I used to backchat my boss. It was all this behavior I had, you see. Yeah, I was a bit of like arrogant, you see, by that time. So I couldn't hold one job at a time. I used to get late sometimes. Sometimes I blame this maybe on the drug issue, you see. It's like I want to go to work high, I can really work when I'm high, and I thought like that, you see. That's how it was by that time.
Okay, and then that brings us to the job where you were at when this unfortunate incident happened.
Okay.
Let's talk about that period. You were working for, what's the name of?
Okay, I was working for my employer. She was into documentaries with movie magic, and sometimes I was staying sometimes with her there, and would go do these documentaries with her, and would sometimes I would help her in the garden. I'll do the garden work, clean the swimming pool, wash the car, and then when she wants extra hand at her work, they used to do commercial adverts and things like that. They would also take me there along the way, you see. Yeah, well, I could say maybe our relationship with her was quite a bit like on and off. 1 minute she's like wild, 1 minute she's also, it's maybe I couldn't, sometimes you'd say, there's one word I didn't really like to be called. You see, sometimes, sometimes you're a bit like racist, sometimes like that, but I didn't understand. So sometimes, I ended up reacting, you see. I used to react to, sometimes I was really...
So how long did you work with at her place? How long did you work for her?
I think it's about 3 years.
So would you say it was a turbulent relationship that you had? And I'm just trying to reach to the unfortunate incident that happened. Did you have a good working relationship, would you say, in your opinion?
It wasn't bad, to be honest. Yeah, it wasn't bad, though I would say maybe I was the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say I was the problem, really. Maybe I could say sometimes I was the problem, and sometimes they were the problem. You see, it was an on and off. 1 minute is black, 1 minute is white.
All right. So let's go to the fateful day. Can you just paint a picture of that particular day, what happened?
Okay.
And how we got to...
okay, I'm fine. That day, I was cleaning the pool, and you see, then... she wanted me to do something. I know if she was quite like my boss. She was like, why didn't we'd gone to do a commercial advert? You see, and then we did the commercial advert. We finished, and then there's a time the phone rang. It was in the car. A mobile phone rang. It was
this
just.
This is 2000.
This is 2000.
2000.
Yeah, this is 2000.
Cool.
Yeah, a mobile phone rang. So it was just ringing. It was on the dashboard, you see.
That was your phone or her
No,
phone?
her cell phone. So I didn't know. By that time, I didn't know how to use mobile phones.
Right.
They
They just come out,
They
right?
just come out, and it was just ringing, and it was ringing. So I don't know. So when I used to see her answer, I thought maybe I would answer for her. I didn't know. I pressed the wrong button. I don't know what happened. So she was like, "You touched my phone. You answered." You know, she was like, "Why did you touch my phone? Why did you answer? Do you know how to use it?" She was like in wild, and then we were by the pool, and she was like going wild. You see, and all sorts of words, even like I would say hate speech was spoken, and I couldn't take it no more. You see, and then it went to the pool. Why did you clean the pool? This dirty. So she was just like from one to another. You see, but that time, to be honest, when I was also on that very day, I was just like, you know, I was under the influence. You know, I had taken all that out, and I was under the influence of drugs by that time, and it was marijuana. I taken marijuana that day, and so when she was going like wild, and she was saying, I wanted to swim yesterday. I want to do this, and I can't. So we like, you know, I pushed her, and I said, "You want to swim? Swim!" And I pushed her into the pool. You see, right? And I had forgotten that by that time in the pool there was an electric cable, which was going in the pool to the lawn. It was a lawnmower cable. You see, so
Why was it going to the pool? What had happened?
okay, it was actually it was a lawnmower. Remember, it was in the lawn.
The lawnmower was plugged.
Yeah, it was plugged. You see, it was plugged.
Yeah.
So when we had this fight, I pushed in the pool. She wanted to swim. Remember, and I pushed in the pool. I said, "Swim." Remember, and then it was unplugged. It was plugged on, and it was naked. You see, so there were shocks. She suffered shocks inside in the pool. Like it was all smoke in the pool and things
So
like that.
as you pushed her in the pool, did the lawnmower also fall in the pool? Is that all? The lawnmower was outside on the lawn.
Yeah, it was the wires inside. Remember, the wires of the cable was in the pool and it was naked, and a life body went into the pool. You see, that's what happened.
Nash, do you understand that?
It sounds like a fiction, but anyway, let's continue.
You see, so that's what happened. You see, so when I got out of the pool, you see, when she came out of the pool with like, "Push me in the pool, you what? You see.
Okay. So the pool, she didn't die from.
She didn't die from those shocks. You see, I got out. You see, and she was not. You see, so I like.
So she was now shouting.
Shouting. You see, so she actually clapped me. You see, like we fought. Yeah. And then I overthrew her. She fell on her, hit a rock on her head, and then she went unconscious. That's what happened. You see. So at that time now, you see, like you'd panic.
Yeah. So when that happened, and I'm imagining like she fell on the rock or on the. How did you know that she had not just fallen off unconscious and maybe she was still okay?
Okay. What happened was later blood trickled from the nose.
Also, she hit the rock and then
the back and blood trickled. You see, and by that time, I like you'd become like okay, you know, you're in confusion, you're in shock. You end up getting fear, you get afraid, you see.
So so walk us through what went through your mind when you saw blood coming out of her nose.
Okay, you panic and then fear, and then you know you're young. I'm young by that time.
You're 20 or 21? 20. Okay.
And then the last thing you'd think is phoning the police or phoning anything because you're scared that something bad is going to happen.
So you immediately assessed and you said, blood coming out of her nose, she must be dead. Or you went and you've looked at her vitals and you were certain that she had passed away.
Yeah. So by that time you're panicking and you leave her there and you're running, you go into the house, you come out, you go back to the backyard, you see you're in confusion, you're in panic, you're thinking, your mind is running, the world is spinning. You see, you're trying to think something constructive to do. Do I call the police? Do I this? You do this? And then an inner voice says, "Oh, you go to jail. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. You're going to be." You see, things are happening fast. You see, so my mind was climbed. I wasn't thinking straight at that time. You see, you remember I said I wasn't thinking straight. Maybe it's the drugs which was hitting me high. So by that time, I was afraid to do the right thing.
Right. Nash, what is your sentiment on this? Like, if that had happened to you, how would you have? How would you have? Of course, you are not in his zone because obviously this is a different zone when it actually happens to you.
Yeah.
But looking from the outside, when you hear this,
I think you're definitely going to panic.
Yeah.
You're going to panic. You're going to think, "Oh, shit, I fucked up. What do I do now? Do I call the cops, go to jail? I mean, like, everything's happening in 1 second.
Yeah. So the questions in your mind are exactly the questions that were in your mind are the exact questions that would be in anyone's mind, right?
Then, it's what was going through is very normal.
Yeah.
But also anga mkuru anga kagutana futhi.
Or something. All right. So okay. So at that moment, you're going up and down. You're panicking and that sort of thing. What then do you then decide to do?
Okay. Okay. By that time, I remember I had friends. Remember I told you I used to do petty crimes. My friends. I remember the choice of friends I had, the gangs I had. Okay. I call. Hey, shit, guys. Hey, something has happened at work. I did this, and look, I fought with the boss, and she's just lying there on the floor. I hit her. Then they're like, where is she right now? What's it? He said, it's okay, she's bleeding from her. So what do I do? Okay. Hey. They said, hey, it's like now you'll be saying, my one. I'm one. It's like, hey, it's like, what do I do? I'm just like, I'm 20. I'm asking guys senior than me, okay, what do I do in a situation like this? You see, but the advice I'm seeking advice from my peers. Remember, from my friends, I'm seeking advice. What do I do? Do I call the cops? The ambulance? You see, you panic. Shit. They say the guys like, you see, people like, if the cops, if you call cops now, you go to jail. You go to jail and you go to jail. She's dead. You're going, life. You see, things like that. And now fear. You see,
right? Yeah,
the fear factor at that time was now high. So, I try to, they say, why don't you cover it up and then think, run, you need to run, cover it and run. Think of some way, run away from the country, go away somewhere, then you start, phone with them and say, I've done this and this is where you're far away. That was the things going on right now. It's okay to run. You see.
So why did the option of running not take precedence in this circumstance? Because we're going to then talk about what you then did. Okay. Why didn't you think of running, for example? Was that like more difficult?
Yeah, there's a time you think of running and then like you get stuck, sticker. You want to run.
But it costs money to run.
Yeah, and it costs money. Number one, you have the money to run. Let's say you want to get on a bus, where to? You want to go out of the country, if you need a passport, where you going to go? You see, you are running, you're not wanted. So all these things come, you see. Yeah. So that's how it was by that time, you see.
Right. And then what did you then decide to do? And how did you manage to do it?
Okay, from that time, okay, fine. I tried to cover up the crime.
Right.
Yeah, you see, like, cover it up and then see from there, then run, you see. Okay. Find something, sometimes we go, then run. So I covered up my crime, you see.
And how did you do that?
Okay, fine. I covered my crime. How it was, there was a compost there, sort of where we do our compost, we burn things.
At the house?
At the house.
Yeah.
You see. And then I thought of destroying the evidence. That's the advice I was not getting. Destroy the evidence and run. You see. And by that time, I'm like in confusion. I don't know. It's not me. I'm just doing things of instinct. I'm not thinking straight. You see. Then I destroyed the body.
It's very interesting, the destroying of the body, because I wanted to find out because we watch a lot of drama series and that sort of thing. You can either go and bury someone or go put them in a lake somewhere or bury them, Why did you choose to burn the body as opposed to dumping it somewhere or burying it somewhere?
Okay. By that time, it was just working by instinct. There's a fire there, you burn the body, you run. Then you try to hide her, that she's gone somewhere. You're thinking of somewhere to run. Then when they're trying to find her, you just say that she just went with her car, because we took the car. I called my friends came, they took the car, you see.
Right.
And then a bag, a passport, everything. And then when the relatives, when the friends came and the husband, they'd separated. When they came, they saw the car was gone, some clothes were gone. Remember, they had separated, not divorced officially with the husband. They had separated, and the husband was somewhere. They had some fights. You see, they had problems in the relationship. So, actually, when she was found missing now, with even friends and all, they were actually suspecting the husband that since maybe something had gone, or did she run?
He was actually a suspect.
They thought that since they had fights in the relationship, she had run away.
Okay.
The car was missing, some clothes were missing, some bags were missing, things were missing. So they thought that she had run away. Remember, I'm still there. My friends, they're taking the car, they given the car, they went with it to Mfakosi there. And so on that very day, Saturday, it was in June, I remember, she was meant to go to a meeting. She didn't appear for that meeting, you see. So the following Sunday, like friends are now phoning some of the husband.
This is what, like a week later or something? Or some days?
The following day.
Or the following day?
You see, and that's what happened. They were now like, okay, we can't find, she didn't come for the meeting. Why? Okay, where is she? Did she get sick or something happened? And there were no responses. On Monday now, there were more like inquiries. Like, hi, we are trying to phone her. We can't get through. Where is she? You see, that's how it grew. So when the relatives came on the premises, they were now like looking for someone missing.
Okay. Nash, you wanted to say to us something?
Yeah, I mean, let's just go back to this. So she falls down. There's a pitch there. You carried the body by yourself?
Yes.
Or your friends helped you?
I was by myself.
It's like more like dragging, right?
You drag the body, it goes by the hip where it's burning. You burn the body beyond recognition. That's how it is. That's what happened. And that took maybe about 24 hours.
Yeah, because I was telling Denny earlier on that it takes about 24 hours to burn a body.
You see.
So how much firewood did you have there? Like,
they were more like, it was a dump where we dump, like, there were tires burning, plastics, more tires or more of them.
Okay.
And things like that. All this rubbish dump.
So who then came up with the idea that let's take the car? Was that your idea or your friends?
The friends. You see, they were just thinking, trying to find a way to help me, which was not really helpful, but that's what they had in their mind.
It's a pretty gruesome way of getting rid of a body, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. That's why I said it was by instinct. You're not thinking straight. You are trying to run away from something. You are trying to cover something, and you are really making it worse.
Yeah.
You see, it's like you spill water on the floor. The more you're trying to, it's going another way. It's making it look uglier, and you see, yeah.
Okay, so once that was done, okay, then what was the next stage? What then happened? The events that followed.
Okay, fine. She's now like missing. She's now a missing person. Yeah. Then television, papers are all over. They are now posting the pictures, and every day are now looking for a missing person. Yeah. You see, almost, I think, 4 or 5 days. But then when more relatives are coming and friends, like at the place, and they also go around the yard looking for anything, any sign, any signal, anything sort of, maybe something can be explained. Then they come to where the fire was burned. Then they're just suspicious. Why all this burning, like ties and everything? And they just say, we are suspecting. We are now suspecting something. That's when they call the CID, the police. Now they engage the CID. And then
so how many days later now?
I think about 4
days later. Okay.
And then the CID comes. They are also asking the husband, since they had separated, maybe suspecting him, they could have fought or something would have happened, and you see. So now they are looking for the car. The car has been posted on papers and media, looking also for the car, because they are saying if we find the car, maybe that will lead us to the person.
Yeah.
So they on the car, the number plates, the type of car and the color is put on. So these guys, friends of mine, remember we used to do all these petty crimes. Petty, I want to say not really, So on one crime, they didn't take one guy who was in Fakosi, Heinz Oswald. So Oswald also had a grudge against, my friends. So when the car was taken, he sees the car. Okay, those guys, they are cruising in a Nissan Sunny.
Boys,
okay, well, that's what's going on. Okay, fine. But hey, then he sees the ad. There's a missing car. It's the same description, the one we saw the guys. Okay, it's creamy color. But what these guys, they changed the plates, you see. But they'd forgotten to change the number plate on the window.
The third plate.
You see, they didn't change that one. You see, they'd changed the actual plates. But the number was also printed on the windowsills as well. Right. They did not change that one. So when he also comes, he looks at the car. Then he says, okay, it's different. It's not the one, man, because the plates, the number coming out in the papers, and this one's different. But when he sees the number plate on the window, he's smashing the one in the paper. Same car, same color. There's a reward. So he says, fine, there's a reward. So these guys, okay, fine. He calls the CID. You guys, the car you're mentioning, I've seen the car. I know it is. Then they say, believes he's going to get a reward. So he phones, they come, they're picking up, then they say, they're taking to Farai's. Farai, that's the third accused. At his place. He had taken the car, but the police go there, they see the car. But Farai is not there, you see. So there's a car, but there's a missing person, you see. And people, the police and everyone, they want the person, you see.
Right.
You see, so right. This is where it gets interesting. So now they wait for Farai. They surround the house. Farai had gone somewhere. In the evening, comes back.
So they have a car, but
they leave the car there. Everything there's it is. They saw it.
They verify that the car is
that's the car. Then now they bring reinforcements. Right. They surround. Farai comes. I know he doesn't know. It's all over. There are people. You see, there are cops. He gets in the house. When they get in the knock, the cops come. The CID they knock, and they come. You know how they are. Bring out guns and everything, and you see. So with all the firepower there, he was like, he was like jelly. And they say, all right, the car. No, where did you get the car? This car was given by the second accused. You see, there's a second accused. He says, no, the second accused came in and gave me the car. He just left it. He says, I must keep it for a while. You come get it. Okay, fine. They say, Farai, we are not really concerned about the car. That doesn't matter. We want the person. Where is she? Person, I know nothing about a person. I got this car from the second accused. I don't know nothing about a person. Yep. Okay, where is the second accused? The second accused is in KwaZimba, and that's true. The second accused had been in Zimba, the KwaZimba, and then they put him in their cars, and then they go to look for the second accused. This is now the following morning. He was caught in the evening. The following morning, they go to Zimba area. They reach there. The second accused was actually on the bus stop trying to go to Harare. Unfortunately, the third accused, that's Farai, he sees the second accused, that's Godden. He says, there's Godden there, the second accused. He's actually by the bus stop. There is. Yeah. The cars come, they turn around, and Godden is unaware. He's very unaware that these cars, they are cops, there's Farai there. He knows nothing. He's just waiting for transport. So one car goes saying he wants to give him a lift, but there are cops inside. CID. Where are you going? I'm going to town. So, get inside, we'll give you a lift. He gets in unaware. He's now. When he's inside, guns are brought. Where is Murungu Arukupi? Where is the head? You see, that's how it was. I know nothing about Murungu. The car was given by the first accused, me. They say, he just gave us the car. We know nothing about Murungu or the person. You see, that's how it was. Okay, fine. They take him. Let's go. They go to Central. So on the following day, I remember Friday. And I'm there at the premise, and you remember, I didn't run. I didn't go. I just thought maybe.
You thought everything was fine.
Just fine. That I'm just going to tell him. You see, so by that time, tomorrow, it's not like I'm okay. No. I've got a guilty conscience in me, but that guilty conscience, I know that I did something really bad and I need to go. But, by my age, by that time, and so you just get high, just see what happens. You see, let me see what happens. What I can, I go. Unfortunately, I see in the morning, this, I saw the third accused, that's Farai, comes in, they come with a Pajero. There I see Farai, and that's the third accused with the cops. And I know all hell is, I know it's just,
Mawan.
And I panic. There's a time I remember running to take red poison. That's how you are, really. I tried to commit suicide there. I took red poison, tried to run away, escape. You see, and I thought by suicide I'm escaping. So I take suicide, I take red poison, I drink it. The cops come. Red poison is my system, but it doesn't take effect by that time. And the cops come and they say, listen, Godden, from where we are coming, and you can see we've got you know him. Just tell us the truth. Where is your boss? Where is she? Just tell us the truth. So don't give us headaches. Just tell us the truth, and then we'll work from there. If you just tell us the truth, we'll make it more easier, even in court or if where is she? Where did you put her? They thought she was alive. They didn't know she was dead. They thought maybe I've hid her somewhere. We've kidnapped her. Maybe we want some money or things like that. And then I remember the words I said, I don't know if I ever get out of this. I was like, I was pretty getting dizzy now. And then I just say, okay, come, I'll just show you. So They leave Farai with other cops, and then the rest they come with me, and they're now following me to the pit where we burn stuff. And then I just say, she's dead. So she's dead way. And I burnt her here. They like look at each other. They're like, don't go and tell them. They're saying, who's the relatives? They're thin, worried. They're the relatives, friends. They look at each other. They say, don't go and tell them. I'm so Mira. So by that time now, I'm getting like this, that poison thing. Then I just collapse. I remember I'm now in an ambulance, chained in a Paranyat hospital. I'm put there. I think I woke up after a day or 2 days. You see, I was revived there. I didn't die. You see, I wake up. I've got chains all over. I'm on a hospital bed in a room with their police there, and when they see I'm awake, they call the doctor. The doctor comes, takes some tests. I'm taken to the ECD test. They want to test me mentally, that am I right, or am I a mentally ill person? They do some tests, and then from there, they start taking the statement from me. You see, they say, Guideson was all separated. They'd taken already statements from those, the two accused. I was the one left. They take my statement, and they try to ascertain that we both involved in the killing, or it was me, you see. So when I just tell them the truth, what happened, I did the killing, I did this, I phoned them later, they gave me this, that. So that's how it was. And I was taken to the magistrate's court. I remember I was at least on Friday at the hospital. Monday, during the weekend, they took my statement, and I was taken to court the following Monday at magistrate's court.
Did you know?
So, yeah, going back, so the 4 days before you got caught, how were you sleeping? Like, I mean...
I think in 4 days, I lost weight. Yeah, I lost so much weight. I couldn't drink. I couldn't eat. I just drank water. And maybe... I used to smoke. Smoked more, both weed and all that. And you see, you're in a panic mode and you're not stable. You can't really do the normal things you do when your mind is okay and you got a clean conscience. But when you've got a guilty one and you know that you are facing something and you don't know, you're going to face prison, you're going to face the wrath of the law, you're just like, and I'm a sitting duck by that time. And you see, you don't eat normal, you don't sleep normal. You see, so by that you're trying to take other things to calm the fears that's really are wanting me inside. You see, so I could say that's how really I was by those 4 days.
So were you seeing her? Did you have visions of her?
Maybe a few hallucinations. Yeah, I remember hallucinating. Yeah, I remember.
So when you were at the house, I just wanted to ask, like, when you were at the house, when you did this, who else was there? Because in an article that I read, I heard that your mom worked. She had
gone.
well.
She also worked there, but she wasn't there when all this happened.
It was just you and her.
Yeah, she'd gone to a few days off. You see.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's, you see, actually, even my mom was later, well, yeah, she was also suspect, but when they took my statement, I told them, they knew that, no.
Oh, you didn't waste time. You didn't waste time, you told them exactly what happened.
Told them the truth. I didn't waste time. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so, fast forward from there.
I was remanded in custody at remand, all three of us, and yes, we applied bail. Bail was denied. By that time, the judge who denied me bail was Judge Smith. He was white, and he lived in the same line of the deceased. His home was also in the same road.
Oh, right.
You see, and
so they knew each other.
They also knew each other, and he denied me bail. And then the following year, that's now 2001, our trial was now taking place. He was also again my judge and my trial as well. And the two assessors, there was one Indian and one black. And that's how it was. And our trial was a fast track since I wasn't denying. But yes, I gave reasons why I had done it, you see.
Did you have legal representation?
We had pro deos, which means we didn't have our own lawyers. So since on the nature of our crime, you need lawyers, you need representation. Yeah, because you're also facing life, you're facing the death penalty, you need lawyers. You don't go on trial without a lawyer.
So the state
if you
gave
don't
you-
have, the state gives you lawyers. You see. Yeah, well, I would say the lawyers I had were escorting me to the hangman's. You see, they didn't really...
They weren't fighting on your
they
corner.
weren't fighting, they were just escorting me. Yeah, so it was more like that.
It was more like procedure.
Yeah, it's just, you see. So our trial was a fast track. It took 2 weeks only. Normally, these cases can go even for months, even for years. But mine only took 2 weeks. It was fast track. And, but what really, I can remember when I was sentenced to death, it was a Friday. You see, when you're at remand, you wear khakis and you are staying with other inmates, maybe 14 a cell, 15 a cell. And they, normally in prison, we lie to each other, We lie to each other that things, there are inmates who make themselves lawyers, and you see, they tell you that, oh, it's you get out. You just say this and this and that, and you get out. You see, but really, in reality, it's the facts, which, So, you have hope that, no, I won't go to death row. Maybe I might be given a few years. That's the hope you get, you see. But it's very funny. Even the officers, some who knew, they said, with your nature of crime, you are going to hang. Yes, you are going to hang and you're going to die. So also there was fear that I knew that what I did was bad, and I know.
So here we are in the courtroom, right? And the judgment is delivered. Take us through that process.
Okay. So what happened was that there was there are two black ladies who came in. They are not my relatives. I don't know them. You see, they are put there by the court. You see, that was they come in, then they go around the room, the courtroom, and they start saying in Shona, they start,
they're not your relatives.
No, they're not. I don't know where they came from. They appear in court, you see, and then they start going around the court and saying, they are black. They are wearing black, like garb, and covering their face, and then they cry, saying, why did you do this? Like, why did you commit a crime like this? They are not my relatives. They start like crying. Then there's like, sort of, I don't know if it's a court clerk or what. He stands up. He's wearing like a police uniform, those like khakis they wear.
This is before the judgment.
They are about to pass it. Yeah. And he's raising, hear me. And now, can the court keep quiet whilst the death sentence is being passed? Like, I'm lifted. I'm standing there. I'm saying,
while the death sentence is being passed, it's already...
It's now taking place. They are now passing the death sentence on me.
The judge has not yet said it.
The judge has not yet said it.
But it's now out there.
Yeah, it's now out there. You see. And then the judge passes. So maybe they'll have communicated. They'll not. Yeah, you see, the court I was going, when my trial was taking place, it was another court. You see, the gallery and everything. But now, this court... When they give the death penalty, they change the court now. I go to another court. And the way I'm handled now, there are more guards around me. You see,
there's no people in the gallery
there's
anymore?
You can just know that, no, the outcome which is going to come today is now different because the atmosphere has changed totally. You see, and like there are no more, the judges are stern. They don't look in your eyes. They don't even look in your eyes. They don't look at you. They just look, and the assessors, they just look on their papers, you see. So I could just tell that, no. So I could feel it. Yeah, I could sense it. That, no, the sentence just coming, it's a deadly one. And then they pass, after the guy sits down, then the judge passes on the sentence, you see. And then from there, it's like, I see the room spinning, fear. And I'm now being handled. They're now putting leg irons on me, and I'm still standing, you see. And then they are chaining me to the guards and everything. And I'm now being separated from my co-accused. You see, they get 20 years each, 8 years and 12 years for theft. It's running concurrently, you see. So they are saying that, they say that robbery made in course of robbery attracts the death penalty. That's why they handed me and they're saying that, yes, it was more like premeditated. They were saying that I'd planned it, and though I didn't plan it, it just happened. So they're saying, why did you take the car and theft and all that? So this was premeditated.
Right. And in your opinion, of course, you're in this circumstance. So obviously you're hoping for a better outcome. In retrospect, when you look at what happened and the judgment you were given, do you think that was a fair judgment, considering what you had done?
No, it wasn't quite. It wasn't fair. Yes, I mean, I'd taken a life. Yes, I'm guilty for that. But death, by that time, I thought no, it was a bit harsh. Yeah, I mean, I was just 20 years old. I mean, I wasn't a habitual criminal, really, to be all. Like, it was the first nature of my crime, like doing that one. And then I didn't plan it. I didn't plan, and totally. I even asked for forgiveness. I asked the relatives there for forgiveness. Yeah, I mean, I showed remorse. I was remorseful. I mean, I'm not a hard-blooded killer. Yeah, I know. I saw myself not a cold-blooded killer. Yes, the way I did it after, maybe. But
okay, so all right, look, let's take because now you were in remand before now.
Yeah.
Now you've been sentenced, so you're going
I'm
to
now
Koro
the institution. I'm now going to Harare Central Prison. That's where they keep the death row inmates. That's where executions take place.
This is close to remand prison.
This is just next to remand, Harare remand. You see.
Okay.
So I'm now being manhandled, and I'm taken into a van. Escort comes. I've got maybe 12, 13 guards now all around me. And I'm like, okay, where am I going? They say, no, you shall see. I'm like, I'm not asking because normally when you're coming from remand, you'll be lots of inmates going for various, you see, courts. But now I'm like, I'm going by myself. The death penalty, yes, I had been given the death penalty, but it didn't really sunk in like I'm going to die. You know, like I'm just thinking maybe it's just false. It's not really happening. It's not true. But when I reach Harare Central, the gates, I go through more than 7 gates. One opens, another closes. You see, I'm taking into now the hall where they keep where they are death row. This time I see people wearing, they're coming from the exercise. There are about 10 death row inmates coming. This is where you want to do more, and everybody they're coming, and they're like, you guys, you're bringing us kids here. You're now sending the kids to death. I'm a new arrival, and they're like, there's noise, there's what, and they are much, older death row inmates people there, and I'm just like 20 years, and that's when I see that they take off that khaki, they give me a red jumpsuit. I'm put into they throw me into a single cell. The window is so high you don't even see the sun. You see. Even the sky, you don't even see outside, and they lock the door. 3 bolts are put in, a padlock and all that. And by this time when they throw in, they open the again, they search me again, they take off the clothes. I am naked in the cell, you see. And then I just sit down. It's 5 blankets, a chamber, a bottle of water, and a Bible. That's all the thing. That's already material they allow you only. So by that time now, you sit down, and I'm now taking stock of everything. That's when, I'm now introspective, and I'm now taking everything in. That's when I realized that this is where certain fear comes in. It's so fearful that I've never experienced that kind of fear. And then you are hearing other guys in the cells next day. Others are screaming, others are crying, others are saying things, others, it's like I'm in a mental institution, But no, that's how it was when I arrived there.
And then, so now mentally now, how are you managing to stay sane now? Because these are like harsh conditions, and they've just been thrown at you.
Yeah. You see,
how are you managing?
In the cell, it's only 5 feet width, and the length is about 12 feet. It's more like a 2-liter lunchbox I'm staying in. I can't even stretch my hands like this in the cell, and really, you can't. You'll be like. You see, and
you don't have a bed in there?
You don't have a bed. You sleep on the floor. They just have a mat and 5 blankets. Your chamber. There's no flush toilet. There's a chamber.
So you cannot lie down straight on the floor?
On the floor, yeah, you can lie straight, but more like in a coffin, like you see.
Okay,
it was
but
more
you
like
can't move.
It was now a life in a coffin, I could say, yeah. And by that time, you see, the guards, they came, they shake the door, and they're not really like friendly. No, you're not friends. They're not really friendly. They're like, hush. You see, so that even brings more fear. At least I could say what really kept me sane was the reading. I could read, you see. Whereas other inmates, maybe, various thoughts. Most other inmates, maybe I could think maybe they'll be thinking that they're going to die and I'm leaving my family. My kids are going to be off. You know, you think of so many things. I wasn't married. I didn't have a wife. I was just a kid. But so I didn't think much of, you know, I just thought, I don't want to die. You see, I remember there's a time inside when I got in and I saw that the situation has changed. That now, you know, I've never seen a man cry till I see a man go die. This is where I saw men, even strong men, when they cry, when they are going to be hanged. You see, yeah, I'd never really cried in my life, to be honest. Yeah, you'd hit me with a stick, but this is one play I cried. You see, was I really like, I don't want to die, but okay, I'm going to die. And then I've got a guilty conscience. Okay, you see, so the fear, remember, the mental, the psychological stress you suffer. Yeah, you're oppressed, you're suppressed. All that's going through, you know, man. So what kept me sane was, at least I should maybe read. Okay, by that time they allowed cigarettes, so I would smoke more. By that time when I got there, you had finished a pack, I want another pack, but they only give you one pack, maybe for 2 days or 3 days. So you end up looking for stubs, try to even smoke, you know. You're frustrated, you're stressed, you're anxious. Anxiety is one thing. Remember, anxiety. I suffered anxiety. Okay, fine. Okay, you know, it's like I don't want to die, but I'm going to die. So how does it happen? How, you know, you ask yourself questions. Is it going to be painful? Is it going to be that? Is it going to be quick? You know, you don't know. They don't tell you when you're going and they hang you. You see. So when you send it, you write an automatic appeal to the Supreme Court. Remember, I was sentenced by High Court. When you get there, you write an automatic appeal to the Supreme Court. You see, and, and that was denied. They just before that was before they brought the Masende case. That was denied. Actually, I was meant to be hanged with the same crew as Masende Kenshitumo. Yeah, I was put in the line of fire with them. But then, because my appeal had been denied, they said you did this offense, die. You have to die. Then you write a petition now to the president saying, sorry, you know, and I was just a kid and this and that, and you know, that's now, it's more like a sorry letter. But I stated my facts. No, I fought. You see, you know, I was angered by this. I took this reaction both and you know, but yes, I'm sorry for that. And I was just a kid. I just spoke the facts. I was just simple. And that's how I sent it. So I was now on the death row, not on the sentence. I was now on the death. You know, when you go there, you're on the death sentence. Then when your appeal is denied, you're now on the death row.
Death row is like a queue.
It's a queue now to the execution room. That's when you see. That's when came, you know, we'll put in the same line, the same time with Jumo, Masendeke, Chauke, Mandla Masina, you know, the guys.
So how did you escape being part of that team that was actually executed?
Still a mystery. Not a mystery. I just put it maybe. That's why I say it's more like what changed. You see, okay, I'm on death row. I'm smoking. I've got anxiety. I'm doing this. You see, I'm reading. And then one day, I've got questions. Remember, I've got a conscience. You see, yes, I've heard. So I'm like curious to know that my nature of crime and what I did. I've sinned against God. I've sinned against men, you know. But, okay, I'm now going to, you know, all of us are spiritual in a sense. In the next life, there's hell. I've heard of hell. I've heard of heaven. I've heard of forgiveness. But me, it was like, can I really? No, you also, I got a conscience. Like, no, I'm really sorry, but I've sinned. I've both against men, against God. Is there a chance for me forgiveness? You know, you are looking at going to be hanged, to die. So you ask the question in your, can God forgive a person like me? That was my big question with what I have done, the wickedness, the evil. You see the nature of this crime. It's not right. Can God forgive me? That was my question. Like, I just want to say I'm sorry. You know, can I have another chance even before or at the next life? Can I get there? So those were questions coming in as well. Because the only thing you're allowed is the Bible. I think they believe that. They believe it's good. The only thing which can help in the next life is your Bible. That's why they just give you a Bible. But to me, when I read it, I was really curious. I want to know, you see. I didn't have answers. Nobody really gave me. So one day, it's officers, when they reading materials which is allowed is our Bibles. One day, an officer came and he's eating his sandwiches, and he had brought a paper Sunday meal, I remember. And then I'm coming from the exercise yard, and after he finished eating the sandwiches, he throws the paper in the bin. You see, it's very rare to find reading materials in the bin. You see, so I quickly noticed it. Instinct, just to grab it, I grabbed it. I said, I'll find something to read, you know. I hid the paper in my pocket, go in my cell. And then later, in the middle of the night, they don't turn off the lights. The lights have to always consistently on. So there's a peephole or spiral where the officers can't really check, and they peep in to see that Orimo, and you're not doing anything, trying to escape or suicide. Yeah, people have attempted suicides on death row, a lot of them. So they quickly check, Orimo, you are there, you see. And so when the light was on, I read the paper. And I was reading. But there's one portion which really stared me in the eyes. Like, I see a lady there, and she's speaking about salvation, forgiveness, and it's really offered to everybody and to everyone. So, I've never, when you go on death row, relatives abandon you. You know, even on census, you know, death row inmates are not counted on census. You are not humans. You are not anybody. You are nothing. You see. Even relatives sometimes tend to abandon you, and maybe you've disgraced them, you see, so they tend to abandon you. And the nature of the sentence, you see, some are afraid, you see. So others who used to have visitors, they wrote letters. I didn't write a letter. Nobody came to visit me. So that's when I say, all of a sudden, I want to write a letter. You want to write a letter? They give me a paper. I write the letter. I write to this Dr. Arafutana. She was in the Sunday Mail. She's a precious stone. She was talking about salvation, but I'd question one question I want to know. Salvation, can it be extended to a person like me? How are my chances? Do I know kwana or any papo? You see, so I write the letter, and then it's sent. After about a couple of months, then somebody came, my secretary. She come to verify, are you the one who wrote the letter? And you see, are you still alive? And she says, doctor received your letter, but she sent me just to check, and then she makes the necessary steps to visit me and explain the Bible and the word. And when she comes, she's allowed with a few minutes, but the few minutes she's allowed, she takes me to the necessary step. I receive Christ as my personal savior. She gives me another Bible and some shepherding lessons. They're allowed. I read them. Then I start understanding, you see. From there, this is where things start taking, where I believe I didn't understand the changes. Even the fear was no longer there. When I read the Bible, I pray, I could understand some of those shepherding lessons. They actually helped me to understand. She actually said, start reading the book of John. Then I started reading the book of John. Then, you know, it made sense. Things were coming. Things were changing, you see. All of a sudden, I had this inner peace, which was so, I couldn't understand this peace. Even I was no longer afraid. Even smoking, I didn't like smoking anymore and things like that. And there's a time I could even converse with the officers. You see, they would say, you're going to angle. I said, yeah, I'm not afraid. I'm no longer afraid. You see, even though they shook the doors. Right. Yeah, there's a time I used to talk with even Chidumo Masendeke. I would say, hey, forgiveness is there. Would share the word sometimes. Yeah, they would say, you see, yeah. And then Chidumo would say, yeah. My name, I'm not calling myself, I've got a new name called Francis. Yeah, you had hope. Chidumo quietly had hope. It was my next inmate. So from there, about a couple of years, this is in 2012, this was my 11th year on death row, you see. By this time, executions were taking place. There's a time when we're about 50, and we were only left about 8. People executed on Wednesdays, Fridays. Mostly this time of winter in June, July. That's where executions used to take place.
So every single day you would wake up thinking, this might be the day.
This might be the day, you see.
For 11 years.
For 11 years. And this is where really the pain and the stress and the fear really comes in. You don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. They don't tell you. They just come, they just take you in the midnight in your go. So you're afraid, you fear and anxious, you know. Yeah. You try to sometimes, if you try, sometimes some enemies try to attempt suicide. Some really, they go like crazy, mentally they suffer, and it does affect their health. I could say almost 25 death row inmates died without being hanged. Yeah. was they were
By themselves, just naturally or whatever.
mentally they suffered at the end. When they were taken to the hospital, they just passed away. It was inside they'll have given up, you see. Yeah.
So I want to ask, so you want to commit suicide because you don't want to get killed? That's a bit tricky, don't you think?
Yeah, but you wanna die on your terms.
You want to die quicker.
You know, the uncertainty of dying, you want to die now, I guess. That's why probably you took red poison initially when you got caught.
Yeah.
You want to try and escape as quickly as
As
possible.
quickly as possible on your own terms. Yeah, and you see, that's, I think...
And I think it's a bit more, isn't it more gruesome the way they murder you? Not murder you, they execute you.
Yeah, it's gruesome. You are fearful of how it's going to be done, and you see, it's gruesome, and you are fearful of that. You see.
So when you know muchvan chedu tauraya munuka boy ba kunita ngozi kuba kauraya murungu, what happens? Kushile ngozi.
Actually, I'm not quite sure on that.
I think if there was, you would have had the Ngozi visit you, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's got nothing to do with race.
Well, if it's there, maybe I'll just say for me, maybe it's just the grace of God. I'll just say it's the nature, it's where I am now. Maybe it's just His grace. Yeah. If it's there, maybe it's just God's grace. Yeah.
Because it would be different if it was a black person.
Yeah. But to be honest, if I say, when I was sentenced to death, the first few years before I received Christ, I had spiritual problems there. Like the nightmares, to be honest, I dreamt of her. You see, it just came and haunts me, you see. Yeah, I have to be honest today. Yeah, I had nightmares, you see.
For how long?
I believe maybe on death row, those nightmares come and haunt us. Sometimes that's where almost 25 died. You see, it affected them, you see. Yeah. But I would say when I received Christ now, I was now sleeping. I didn't think. I just relaxed. I was more like relaxed. There was an inner peace. I wasn't afraid. That fear disappeared. It was a new beginning, a new life. Even I couldn't understand it. I remember sometimes before my sentence was commuted to life, there were even other death row inmates coming and say, I had a dream, Godden, that your sentence was commuted to life. And we were all asking, why him alone? Because it's very rare. It was very rare just for someone who is now alive. And it was very, people were being angry. People were dying by that time. That era and that time, people were dying.
How many people had their death sentences commuted to life at the time where you got?
Maybe I thought maybe I was the second one. Was one? I think there were about two by that time. But these sentences were commuted to life, not to life. They were given a lesser sentence than life. They were given because at the Supreme Court, their case when the review was being done at Supreme Court, the cases were clearly indicate that no, there was error which was taken. Yeah. They did not kill with intent, and the way it was done, maybe they'd fought and someone died later on. That's how it was.
They were extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, the extenuating. Yes, yeah.
But with yours was unique. You had accepted the crime.
Yes, and the nature of that crime and the publicity it had and all that. It had so much publicity because the deceased was a well-known person in terms of the movie industry, media. She was a popular person. So it was so much to it. Yeah, people really want to see it.
Okay, so then let's talk about. So you spent all this time in prison waiting to, to be executed.
Yeah.
And then what happened for you to be out here now?
Okay.
What then happened from then?
Okay, from all that, on a certain morning, it was a Friday. It was in 2012. The guards came in the morning, and early in the morning they come.
2012, you said?
Yeah, 2012.
Yeah, okay.
And then it should be March 2012, and they opened the door. But this time they are opening the door and saying, come out. You are wanted by those in charge. This is earlier, before our exercise. Our exercise took at around 9, but they came around to 8, and they take me and say, you are wanted. So I thought, instant fear just catches me, says, oh, it's my time. So I asked them that, no, is it my time up? Am I going to be hanged? Is my time, my execution today? And they say, do you pray? And I said, yes, I pray. They said, we want to see if you pray today. You see, so I asked them again, is my execution today? They say, no, let's go find out. They put on my jumpsuit, leg irons, handcuffs. They take me, they lead me to the all the way to the offset judge's office. Upon arrival there in that office, there were a couple of officers, there's a group of officers inside, both female and male. When upon entering, I see them smiling. They smile at me, really. They look up smiling. And I'm like, why? They are actually smiling for my execution. Yeah? These guys. So I go and they give me say sit down. Then he pulls a drawer. He pulls out a file. And he says, you're Godden Matanga, right? Your prison number, I say 3544/01. And he says, okay, we've got some good news for you. You know, from the president office, your papers are back. They say that, no, we have committed your sentence to life from death, you see. I'm like, guys, you don't play with me. Just tell me, and then I just want to tell you maybe what to do with my... They say, prison officers, remove his leg irons, remove his handcuffs. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Remove the red jumpsuit. They give me a white cab. That's when I see, okay, this is really happening. I just said, I remember a tear dropped my eye and I just knelt down and I just gave glory to God and I thank God. You know, like, I couldn't believe it was happening and it was just totally a miracle. I didn't deserve this. No. Yeah, I didn't deserve it. I couldn't imagine it was happening. I just gave glory to God. And then they said, no, from now on, Wamunu, you are now a person. You are now a human being. Your requests, we can now entertain or take. So today, you are not going to stay here. You are going to now stay at Chikurubi Maximum, where life inmates are housed there. So that very day, I was sentenced I was taken to Chikurubi Maximum Prison, where now I started another journey. I could say a 9-year journey from there, or 10-year journey actually from there, where I was now, you know, I'm now staying not in a single cell. I'm now staying in a cell where there are about 30 inmates. There's now options of going to school. There's rehabilitation things to do, like you can do courses. The whole life inmates, you don't do projects like doing piggery, poultry, or gardening. You just do things like school or various courses. That's as a life inmate, you do that. So from there, actually, when I got there, even other inmates there in Chikurubi couldn't believe that. A death row inmate has been given life. It was very rare, you see.
Why do you think you got that? Why do you think your sentence was commuted?
Up to now, to be honest, I had no lawyer. I had no any legal representation. Actually, I was actually put, the Supreme Court said, after it had done its review, this review is done by more than nine judges. You see, so 9 judges saying you deserve to die is no joke. That's serious, you see. So I was actually put on the death row, and when they took Shudumu Masindik and all this, I was meant to go with them, you know, like that was just following year, that's when they did the last execution. So I'm like, I'm just waiting for the execution, you see. But when I'm told now your life sentence is now community, you know, your death sentence is becoming to life, you know, it's nothing more than just a miracle. It was just a miracle. And I could say that's a miracle. And even so many people, I remember when my sentence was coming to life, even officers, people in the public, you name it, people like, why him alone? Why? It's so much, you see. But I just attribute that to it was just Christ doing his miracle in my life. Yeah, that's a miracle. So at Chikurubi, when I got there, like people were saying like, this is God.
So do you actually believe that God came through for you?
Yeah, I believed. The steps I took with Dr. Arifu Taunashia, reading the Bible, even the inner peace I felt, remember the word of God, the Bible, and him, Jesus in my life, Even the dreams I used to dream there, you know, I no longer had nightmares, I no longer had fear, I had this inner peace, this inner joy, which was beyond imagination, beyond explainable. So, yes, to me, Yeah.
So doctor, you said Dr. Utaunashi.
Yes, Dr. Utaunashi.
Did she eventually then come? Because you said the secretary came to assess.
Yeah, she eventually came and she took me through she led me to Christ. I received my Christ through Dr. Utaunashi. She actually also used to visit. Besides the word, she was like more like a tutelage guardian. She used to bring all other things like you need soap, you need maybe she would put some food stuff during the holidays. She would knit a jersey for me during winter, red, white. Yeah.
So that was your one relative.
By that she was my one relative by that time.
Yeah. And then what about your family when you were incarcerated? What was
Okay.
the story? No one ever visited you?
Later on in 2017, just to go a bit further, is that when my brother now came to see me, that's when I learned that my mother, I didn't know that my mother had passed away, was on death row. She passed away 2-6. Nobody came to tell me, nobody informed me. You remember? Yeah, I later know that she passed away in 2-6, but I was later told in 2017 that I was saying like, oh, my mom, she passed away 2-6. Like, you know. So maybe something, I realized maybe something which really attribute to her death, maybe she was like me. My incarceration, my situation, you see, and maybe that really ate her up. Maybe she was really bitter. I think.
You were quite close with your mouth, would you say?
Yeah, I was quite close, to be honest. Yeah, well, yeah, she loved me. Obviously, she loved me. It's you see, seeing your son going on the gallows and he's just 21 years old, you know, it really hurts you up as a mom. I think she felt for me.
So when you heard the news that she had passed away,
like I was broken. It's like I want to see it. I want if she could be alive, that I've been given another chance, and maybe really should maybe be really grateful and happy that hey, finally my son is not going to die. Maybe right now should have seen me now what I'm doing. Yeah, and I just want to say I'm sorry. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, just to tell her no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so from death row to your sentence being commuted to life, and then to being you out here right now. What happened from the life sentence?
I'm serving.
Okay.
We need to go back to prison because there's so many prison stories that he needs to tell us.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, he was going to tell us about the others, but I just wanted to complete the journey.
Okay.
Then we can always highlight.
All right.
Because I'm sure he has a lot of stories on the inside.
Okay.
How did you then end up out here with us when you're supposed to be inside?
Okay, so now I'm at Chikubi maximum prison. I'm now a lifer. Remember, a life you're indefinite. You've got no date of going out. You are in life. That's life in prison. You see, which means you are going to grow old.
I mean, that's terrible. But coming from death row to life is like a plus, right? You felt good.
You felt good. Like it's a turning point.
Yeah.
You see, it's
you're living to fight another day.
Yeah. You see, okay, I've got no more fear.
Yeah.
I can now sleep. I don't have to worry that I'm going to be taken in the middle of the night to go hang. Remember?
Okay.
Yeah. So you can sleep. I can do studies. I can concentrate on maybe, you see, the rehabilitation, you see, which is being offered. I could also join in the rehabilitation. You see, go to school. I did school there, and I did a course, Bible course, diploma. Graduated there in prison with AMFIC, Theological Bible Studies. So I did peer education. You start doing things. Are they? So there I continue praying. I continue reading my Bible. I also, the years are coming by. As a lifer, I was later on being promoted. To a staff where now I was also going outside within the perimeters of the fence. You'd go to the kitchen, would work with the juveniles, cooking food for making sure that waona chikafu and all that, cleaning. I was now a staff. And you see, all of a sudden in 2021, I remember I was called to the office again. There was a general amnesty going on that year. And I was told that I was also benefiting from that amnesty because, they considered the good behavior, you're a good role model here in prison, and I didn't want anything bad with you, so yeah, I was considered as well there. I had now almost 21 years total in prison. You see, they said, we've seen you in 21 years, you've been considered. That, was amazing, just being told that you're going outside, you don't believe it then, but there's inner joy and happiness that, yes. Well, I'd hope, even saving life, I'd hope that one day I'd go out. And I'd even say to God inside that, if you give me another chance, I want to go back. I would really like to work with the youth. I would work with the kids there. I've been there and what they're going through. I took drugs. I did crime. So I said, God gave me another chance. I'd like to go back and work with the youth. And yes, God has given me another chance. All of a sudden, the amnesty came, were called. I think there were 2 others as well, who also lifers, and were given another chance and were let out. From there, I remember the prison posts. It's an organization who deals with inmates who have served lengthy imprisonment. They came and they took me to their farm in Mandley Park, that's Roa, where they took care of me, where they were reintegrating me with both relatives, community, society, and upon getting out, it wasn't really easy. I was very joyful, but it was another turn and another challenge I was now facing. I remember I was 21 years in, and I'd gotten there when I was 20 actually. So much had changed, you see. So much had changed in terms of life, people. Others had passed on, and even the technology which was there, the roads had changed, the buildings had changed. You no longer see the things you saw 21 years back. Things have changed, and you are really like dazed by all this and the gadgets.
Yeah, people take freedom for granted, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I want you to describe for me, like, the first day you came out, like, what was going through your mind? Like, you've been locked up for 21 years, and then the gate is open.
Yes. It's the freedom. Inside you don't see, it's really hard to see the sun, to see trees, things like nature. The first thing which greets you is nature. Seeing nature, it's beautiful. Just seeing flowers again, seeing trees, seeing people who are not just wearing prison uniforms and prison garb, seeing people, colors, and just seeing, that I'm out, you're no longer locked. The boundaries, you are free, actually, that freedom.
What is the first thing you want to do when you come out?
When I came out, the first thing I want to do...
Do you want to go to Chicken Inn? Do you want to go to...
yes.
What's the very first thing you say?
With the food eaten in prison, you want to eat a good meal. The first thing, you want a good meal, and you just want to... you want a good meal, you're outside, definitely. What's inside, the meal's there.
Or you want to go get a girlfriend? You want to go quickly look for your old girlfriend?
Actually.
wait.
No, because after 21 years, you haven't been with a girl. You're just beating yourself up in there. I'm sure that must have been one of the things you're looking forward
to be honest, you see, when I got in, I was 21. I was like a youth. When I'm getting out, like, I'm Darawe, So you really don't know where you start from with women. The last time I was talking to a girl, but now with my age, do I talk to a girl who's 18 years? Do I talk to a girl? You're afraid. So I didn't have those intentions when I got down.
Or maybe you just go to the avenues.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
afraid again.
That you don't want to build up at 20 years.
Yeah. You're afraid. All that, you don't. When you get out, in terms of women, girls, you don't quickly think of that because you really like, I'm afraid.
You are busy just enjoying being free.
Free, first of all, and appreciating that freedom. Yeah, I could say that's how it was.
Yeah. You also have quite a number of very interesting stories from the inside. You shared your prison time with a number of notable people, like, of course, Masendeke and Chitumo and so on. Did you have any like intimate conversations with these guys while you were inside?
They used to tell me about the ex-brigades when they ran away when they escaped jail from that Shkurubi. Actually, Chitumo, like, he was the first person to escape Shkurubi maximum, and
the very first person.
The very first, even up to now, there's no other.
How did he orchestrate that? Like, I remember this story was in the news back in the day, but it's been a while now. And you had first-hand information because you speak to these guys.
Yeah, well, they told me the stories, and Chitumo was like ex-army, and he was a strong guy. I would go 3 times into his body. He was very strong, very muscular, and
So he was a huge guy.
He was very huge.
Because we all only just used to see like mug shots.
Yeah, he was a very huge guy.
Yeah,
very strong. There's a time, and Shkurubi was not his first escape. He escaped from Masvingo prison. There, even the police dogs, when they came after him, you'd catch it, pick up the dog, tear its mouth, teeth, mouth right all the way to his jaws.
Is that true? Now that's like in the movies.
That's actually, that really happened. Yeah, and it's supported. Even the media by that time, if you check it up, it supports that. He did that. That was his first escape. He was very strong. Very, very strong. Yeah.
How did they orchestrate that one? Like, you have first-hand information?
No, from him, you'd say that he was serving about maybe 30 years, 40 years. And then he didn't want this. He thought, I would never make, he wanted his freedom. And he saw himself not serving 30 years, 40 years. He couldn't take that. And that's when he hatched the plan to escape, and that's Chikurubi. And from his point of view, the way he says is that they got in the tunnels, the staff used to take like tea. The staffs by that time were people who were serving like maybe a month left. Maybe left a month, you'll be made an A class. Right. So you wore a white garb, prison clothes, and it was written A class, and they would go and serve in the towers. You see, the Juro, the pre-club, the towers, they are big towers. They would take tea to the officers. Yeah. So these were respected. These were like staffs who were like known, and they're about to go home. So there's no way they would.
Abscond.
No, maybe they are left with a month. You see, so they managed to get into those tunnels, you see, and they caught the staffs who were taking the tea, and they took the clothes off them, tied them. And
this is how many people? There were
three of them.
Three. Masendeke, Chauke, and Chidumo.
That's Dumo. No, Masendeke was not there. Oh. It was Dumo and Chauke, and one guy, it's Osborne. Yeah. I'm quite this should be Osborne. There are three of them. I know Masendeke was not part of that crew. So they go and they carry the trays, you see, taken to the towers now. When they reach the towers, there are gates. So they say, officer, we've brought tea. So the officer comes out, saying, I know it's the normal staff coming. He looks, they're wearing white and A is written on there. So he opens. When he opens the gate to receive the tray, they catch the guard, grab him, then they knock him. You see, they take the firearm. The firearm. That should be an FN or AK. Then they hit the guard with the back of the AK on his head. So when he falls down, his skull is
fractured.
Sure. And he dies instantly. So this was where the point which got Chidumo and Chauke hanged. They actually killed an officer. That's why they were hanged. It wasn't the escape. It was killing the officer.
Right.
You see, that's got them hanged. You see. Had they not killed that officer, they wouldn't have hanged. They would just be sentenced for escaping if they were caught.
Right.
You see. But they killed the officer. That attracted the penalty, the death penalty. That's why they were hanged. Then they take the gun. Yeah. Now they've got these, inside the trolley, there are jerseys.
Well, they're prepared.
They've prepared jerseys for going down the towers, you remember?
Because it's quite a high tower.
So they tie the jerseys together and they make like a long chain, you see? Yeah, for going down the tower. And then they go to they're now going to the next tower where they want to go down. But then they're holding the gun. So the officer in the other tower sees that, those are inmates holding a gun.
Yeah.
You see? And he tries to communicate with the officer there who's now down. No response. They see the gun. So they blow the whistle and he starts firing. Right. So when he's firing, Chidumo now in Chauke, they start firing back. You see, they're now, the siren is, hell's broken loose.
Yeah.
You see? The siren is gone, whistles are blowing. So automatically, inmates are now being rushed by officers being locked up.
Yeah.
You see, the situation is now critical. Inmates are being locked up and the siren is going. The next day, the support is now on its way. When they reach the next tower, they overpower the officer there.
The towers are connected.
No, they are not. It's a juror, and there's a tower here. There's a tower there.
Well, the towers are by the juror, so you can come from.
So you can come from this tower channel. Okay. You see, just like if you've seen the Chinese, what they call it, the Chinese,
the Great Wall.
The Great Wall. That's the setup, which is that's how it is. Right. So you go to a tower, you're on that wall. You go to the next tower. So they go and overpower the next officer, and then he's down. He's not dead. Then they tie They tie the jerseys on that. Yeah. Then Chidumo goes first down. He drops down. Then
meanwhile, sirens are going off.
They are going off. The support is coming. Because the support is close by. They are coming. You see, bullets are they are firing. And then when Chidumo is the first one down, he runs. Then Chauke goes down, he runs. The third one is Oswald. He goes. One is when he's halfway down the tower.
Yeah. Snaps.
That line of theirs of Jersey snaps, and he falls. When he lands straight with his legs down, and his legs come in his stomach, and he just sits down like that. Then the officers come, they surround him, they start beating him. The support is there. They are pursuing Chauke. Well, Chauke runs, goes through the compound area. He goes into a bush area where there are trees. He climbs a tree, you see. When he climbs the tree, the helicopter is already there. Support going low, look, and then the rotor blades, they bring heavy wind and it opens the trees, the branches up, and like Chauke is in the tree and he's exposed. Yeah. And then there's a loud hailer. They tell him, get down and surrender yourself. He just goes down because guns are all pointing him, and he surrenders. He's caught, he's engulfed, he's hand-legged, he's shackled, he's taken. Now on Shtumo, he runs. He had gone first and he had gained ground. So I knew the dogs were coming. Remember, the dogs were coming. So he runs. There's an area where they burn things, and there's an airship. He goes into that airship.
And Shtumo has military training.
Yeah, Shtumo had military training and military skills, and he goes there. I think he hides there for a couple of hours when it gets dark. When it's dark, quickly gets dark, and then the dogs cannot find his scent no more because of the ash. They are now sneezing. They lost track. Then in the evening, when it's dark, Shtumo comes out. There's a river. He goes through the river. He swims. Then he goes all the way to there's a location, Tafara Mavuku there. And now it's dark. Then he now wants to get rid of his prison garb. Yeah. So he's now going house to house looking where there are lines, where there are clothes. You see people wash clothes and leave them overnight to dry some. He finds a pair which fits him. He steals it, puts it on. He goes all the way to cross Mtare Road to the railway. He follows the railway track all the way. Now it goes all the way with that railway track, all the way to Mtare. From Mtare, he gets to the border. When he gets to the border, he jumps the border. There are so many areas you can jump the border. He jumps the border. He goes into Mozambique. Shtumo had a wife in Mozambique. Even during the time Masendeke, they used to do their escapades, their crimes. They used to also go, they had bases in Mozambique. They'd go there, come there. They would look for guns there, come back and start doing their criminal activities here. You see, most of their crime was like robbing tuck shops and for petty cash, using high-fire firearms, for petty cash. And you'd pull out an AK-47 maybe if nowadays, maybe you're putting like AK-47 for $10, you see. So, I mean, they had lots of those things. They would go the highway like that, So the accounts were so many, you see. They had so many accounts. That's why they got the 40 years, you see. He gets into Mozambique. But now back here, they're trying to look for Shtumo. They can't find him. So Masendeke is in his cell. Then he thinks he's serving about the same, almost 50 years. Masendeke used to do crime, but he was also a rapist, He used to rape. There's a time Masendeke went to a school and he put all the teachers in queue. And I'm not quite sure of this one. He actually told me there was a very old lady. I don't know, it was from him. She was an old lady who was also there in that queue. And then the way he says it, he says the lady, she's like, Masendeke says he's going to sleep with all of us, rape all of us. And they're saying, no, the other ladies are saying, no, Masendeke, she's too old. The old lady says, no, Masendeke said all of us. I don't know. You see?
Why are you trying to leave me out of this action?
You see?
Okay, all right.
You see, I remember him telling me this. Though I laughed at it. You see, that's,
funny guy.
There's another escape of Masendeke. He steals a car. He couldn't drive. So he's now trying to run away. It was actually a white lady, an old lady. He steals the car. He throws the white lady away. He's trying to run away with the car. He couldn't drive. So he just steps the accelerator. It goes. He steps again. It goes. He couldn't change the gears or anything. He's just going.
Automatic.
He's just trying to go. He couldn't drive. He couldn't push the car. He gets out and he runs away. He couldn't drive the car. This is from Sunset. So those were some of the things. But Masendeke now, by that time, Shtumo is at loose. And then Masendeke says, no, he thinks up something. He says, no, if I sell out where Dumo is hiding, I know where he's hiding. He asked them, if I tell you where Chidumo is, what will you do for me? He calls the officer in charge. The officer calls the justice guys. They said, okay, fine. If you do that, we'll cut your sentence. Then maybe we just leave you 5 years, and after that you go free. And he says, wow. He says, okay, I know where Chidumo is hiding. Saga, the cops come, the support comes, and even the army, one commando comes. They take, I remember the helicopter came, it took Masendeke gets into the one commando support, and all they fly over to Mozambique, where Chidumo, he shows them where Chidumo was hiding. So Chidumo was busy in shorts by that time. He says Chidumo says from his point, he says that when they came, I was busy in shorts. So I didn't hear the chopper, but he suspected it, and he said I had a sixth sense which told me no. He was coming to fetch water, and his wife, she's a colored, she was preparing some food. So he comes from fetching water. Then he said he saw the birds in the air. They were just like afraid, like they'd been disturbed by something. He says there's always peace that air. So he thought maybe it's a wild animal or something. But he saw everywhere birds, they were like flying. Then he just suspected, no, something was wrong. He said the inner sense, which told me, sixth sense, no, something is not wrong here. So he runs to his house, and he just takes his AK-47, and just to make sure. So when the soldiers and the support saw him with the gun, they started opening fire. And he was also not firing back. But he says that his ammunition his gazin, his bullets were finished by that time. Yeah. And now they came and surrounded him, and they told him to surrender. You see, when he came out with his hands up and everything, they actually shot him by the thigh. They shot his leg. So they knew that this guy is dangerous, and then if we really take him, we don't know what he can do. Since he escaped from Shkurubi, they shot his leg. Saka, he couldn't walk. He was like helpless. Then they handcuffed him, took him to the chopper, and they brought him. That's when he went to court, and he got the death sentence for all of them for killing the prison officer. Hence, they were hanged.
Wow. Ed, so I'm sure you have a lot of these amazing stories from back then, because you've shared cells with a number of very prominent people.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the work that you're doing now. Mm-hmm. You are doing advocacy. Tell us about what you're doing now since you've come out of prison.
Since the book, going to the book, I remember.
Yeah.
I was introduced to the author.
Handpicked the Godden Matanga story. It's out now, available on Amazon. Also available locally, right? Where can people buy this book?
Locally, you can get it at B2.
Where's that?
BC2P. That's in town.
Okay, all right. We'll put down the contact details on there.
You can get that. Locally, it can be found in town. You'll get the contact. Then you can also get it from Amazon, that the publishers that's online.
Right. It's a good read, guys. Go get this book.
So this book is more about handpicked. It's more than a book. It's really speaking of what happened, my journey. It's speaking of two stories of mine. The first one was a very pathetic one, as you've heard. Then the second one is the life I lived inside at Aros Centro on death row, and then my transformation when I received Christ, the life I now lived inside up to now. Hence the book, it's more like an inspirational book speaking of the grace and the power which transformed me from the evil person I was to the person I am now, and the work I'm now also doing to the young generation, especially the cancer. What I'm doing now, I've started a trust called Young and Redeemed, and the church where I go to, that's Faith in God Ministries, that's Asa Guru Pira, my Archbishop, and working with him as well. I started a trust called Young and Redeemed, and it's more like youth empowerment, counseling the youth, talking to them, drug and substance abuse. I'm doing so many campaigns, campaigns, fitness against drug abuse and sports against drug abuse. Yes, and working on that. And it's more like talking to the youth, talking to people where I sit down, I share them my story, I hear this, we talk. Why are you doing drugs? Why are you doing what you're doing? You see, I've learned that fear is a big factor, especially in people who are doing drugs now. They are afraid of being called losers. They're afraid of peer pressure, of not also being considered in their gangs. Yes, I've also realized that the breakdown of the family union is also a factor where I also talk to parents the dining room table, the dining room today is more like a place of display, but long back it's a place where you used to sit at meal times, both everybody, your parents there, you there, where love is shared amongst each other, where you talk. That's no longer exists today, where the father just comes in the house, he takes his plate, he goes to his room, he's on his phone. Mom comes in, takes a plate, she goes to your place, he's on her phone. The kids likewise. There's no that union of sharing, of loving each other, of discussing or talking. That breakdown is also a factor. So that's what I'm doing now, and also doing sports mostly. Though yes, of course, I've just started, and there's so many challenges on terms of like things to use, resources and all that. But with the little what we're getting, we're just doing that right now.
Yeah. So to those people watching the podcast, like, what assistance are you looking for to help you do your work right at this moment? What would you like people to assist you with?
Okay. So far, like, we've had a challenge on transport. We have to use public transport and sometimes bus fares and resources to use, like mostly the area we've got in Mvurwi, we've got more than 500 kids from concession to Mvurwi. There are more than 500 kids there. They like football. I go sometimes, we find maybe one football, two footballs. We need like resources like footballs, soccer kits. We need maybe transport if we could have a car. We need an office, process it office, and those are some of the resources we need to use.
Nash, are you going to put in a good word to say Wignell about what Godden is doing here? Do you think we want to put a good word? Because you did. Who are some of the other people who passed through prison when you were there?
Okay, yes, I was with Wignell Chivayo. We used to call him BIG. We didn't stay long.
He's giving people 300 cities and that sort of thing. So I think you should be able to give you a choir. An aqua. Yeah, who else? And what are some of them?
With Kereke, you see Martin Gombora, BT, with Mazorera, and
So prison seems fun. I mean, you get to meet a lot of celebrities.
Well, they come through. It's an institution in life where one passes through. Actually, the cell I stayed in when I was in death row, I spent 5 years, and in the cell our president was in. Actually, Emerson Mnangagwa, president. That's the cell I was in. It was 2 up in.
That's the one that he was incarcerated in back in the day.
That's the cell I was in. I stayed 5 years in that cell.
Or in the president's cell?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe the president also needs to give you something towards your cause for your advocacy and stuff.
Yeah, but my passion goes out to the youth. It goes out to the kids there. I don't want them to go through what I've went through. I want them to make the right choices. I made the wrong choice as a youth, and it affected me for life. So if they make the right choice now, choice of friends, choice of decisions which are good, that will be good for their life as well. Yeah.
You want to say something?
It's called the presidential suite.
The presidential suite. Okay, all right. Is that what it's called now? The presidential suite at Chikurubi.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would also like just to elaborate more on the book.
Yeah.
Ndakaite Syria, the author, she's like a mom to me now.
She's in Canada. Right?
She's in Canada. Yeah.
Okay.
And I got through her. I led a certain pastor, Pastor Mgabe, and she was, by that time she was looking for a book to write.
Okay.
Remember, I'm not in the picture by that time. I'm doing something else. I'm nowhere, you see. But then she's in Canada. Then she's speaking to Pastor Mgabe. She says, "No, I want to write a book." She wants to write a book called Exit. Should be Exit 60 or Exit. And speaking of her life and you see her challenges. Then Pastor Mgabe tells me, "I've got there's a story." One about Godden Matanga in Zimbabwe, his life story. Then she calls me. Then I'm introduced to her. Then I narrate my story to her, and she's like, "Wow, this is amazing." Then she changes the one she wanted to write. Then she writes this one. You see, it actually took 1 year getting the information. I was only using WhatsApp and texts, maybe voice, and she was a little like emotional. She actually cried. I remember crying when I was telling the story. Then she puts, we agreed that this should also be inspiring to others, the life of Christ, the grace in everything, and maybe to help other people who are suffering somewhere, that there's hope somewhere in Christ. You see, the situations we face, at least there's also a lasting solution in Christ and His Word. That's when she put this book together. Beautiful. It's her first book. that's her first book in her life. She's more like, she's a nurse and she's a songwriter. That's when she wrote this book, and the launch was last week Saturday, and people are really amazed with it. It's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then finally, let's also talk about your family. You have a wife and a kid.
Yes, I've now got a wife and a kid called Gabriel. And nice. We are staying in Vorwe. Sometimes we stay in Harare because of the book. But when Vorwe, I'm really working with the youth there, and Bindura, and also in Harare, I also come and work, and she supports me. She knows what I went through. She knows the truth, and she accepted me. That's just God's grace. It's very rare to tell a woman that you go and you date a woman and tell her that I'm at 40, and you say you don't have a kid, and you've never been married. She's like, are you crazy? You're 40 years, and you know it's very hard to tell her that. It took me time to really tell her the truth, bit by bit, but she's accepting me.
And in Vorwe, you have a project that you're working on.
We've got a project. We've got a community garden there. We have got a small school. We are working with the CD and grade 1 and 2, and we're working with kids, more than 500 to 1,000, and that's where we really also need, where I ask for support, so I can really, you need support. You are starting from scratch, and you really need support. What I pray is and ask for support. And speaking to these kids, I've been invited to like schools where I do take the kids. We do drama, drug and substance abuse drama. We've got a drama club, and we also got a counseling club. We've done some of the kids have done a few courses, peer education, and things like that. And we are going around schools doing drama, poetry, and dance. Yeah, and also sports. And
as part of your redemption journey, I found out that you also tried to get in touch with the family of the deceased. Is that correct?
I've been trying since I came out up to Novel. Yeah, I just want to say, I wrote letters once when I gave my life to Christ. I learned to forgive myself, and that really helped me. Then I really want to ask for forgiveness from the deceased family, and to really honestly say I'm sorry, and I've been trying that even now. But I've heard they've moved out or went out somewhere, but I'm just trying to really locate them, so I could also.
Nice. Thank you for sharing your journey with us, Godden.
Yeah.
People must go out and get the book. It's out, available on Amazon for those overseas, and locally you can also get it. We're going to put the contact details on the screen. Nash, is there anything that I left out? Yeah. Okay. And any final words you'd like to say, Godden?
Yeah, I would just like to say I'm grateful. I'm not gloating why I'm out, or you see, to be honest, yes, I'm really remorseful. But I'm saying I destroyed a life, but now I'm really working towards saving lives as well. That's what I'm doing. So I'm just saying to everyone out there, let's make good choices, especially to the young ones. Let's make good choices, and really, there's power in Christ Jesus and His Word. And can you please read the book?
Amen. All right, that's been a very exciting episode of the show. Till next week, guys.
Danny J Show. Zvanga zviri downtown uptown raitidzwe nyaya dzacho dzese narrative ndaichidwe kana mchida kutipisa deep ndaipidwe make you spill a bean if you know what I mean. Hande.